Here. I'm Ellie Krug. I am running for school board for Eastern Carver County Schools District 112. It's a school district with about 9,200 students, approximately 1,500 educators, largest employer in Carver County being a county that went for Trump in 2020 by 6 points. But it's a county in some respects turning purplish. I got involved with this school board running kind of by happenstance. I've been volunteering in the schools last spring, speaking to LGBTQ students, both in an alternative high school as well as middle schools. And my message for them was about them being worthy and about that they mattered and affirmation. And somebody came to me and said, Ellie, there are 4 seats open on the school board this fall. We think you should run for a school board candidate. I did some due diligence. I heard a lot of things about the fact that I'm transgender. Obviously, the voice doesn't match the appearance, and how that might be a lightning rod, and how I might be the subject of a lot of negativity. But it was also important to me, and it was very clear that me running would send a great message to the LGBTQ community out here in Carver County, not only the students, but also for adults, that they mattered and that maybe I'd be there to give them some public representation. Although running for school board, you're running for everybody. I mean, you represent everybody and not just simply that. And so I decided that I would do it. I happen to be hopelessly idealistic. I'm a student of Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy. I was alive when they were alive. I was 11 years old when they were murdered. And they had taught me before they went, like they taught a billion other people, that we all have an obligation to make the world a better place. And that's really the underlying reason why I'm running, because I do want to make the world a better place. The school district here is doing an incredible job. They graduated 99% of their seniors. And I also want to help them get ready for the things that are coming, like book bans, like attacks on LGBTQ students, more vocal attacks, and other kinds of marginalization.
My name's Alicia Kozlowski, and my pronouns are they, them. I am running for Minnesota House in District 8B, which is up in Duluth, in Eastern Duluth. And I'm running because for me, as a Native person, as a Mexican American person, as a two-spirit, non-binary person, I grew up, in the midst of Duluth, in a lot of the struggle that so many of our communities face, and that we shouldn't have to be facing: housing insecurity, food insecurity, poverty, right, addictions, mental health, all of every bad thing that's coming our way, that's been coming our way, dropping boxes on our doorsteps. And it's the aunties, it's the grandmas, it's the tias, the tios who stepped in and made sure that my existence mattered, my humanity mattered. And how come I was able to go on and graduate high school as the first in my family, to go on to be a first-gen graduate from college and have the audacity to become a graduate of the Master of Business Administration program. And every single space I've been has been marked by being the first. For Duluth, the voters just voted to fundamentally change the face of power. We've never been represented by somebody like me, with this voice, with the communities that I'm bringing along and bringing in. And at the state capitol, there's a historic slate of LGBTQ candidates, of Native candidates, and we're not making that same ground for Latinos, but we'll be at least replenishing the ones that we're losing. Because I look around at our community and we have a housing crisis, right? And in 2020, my mom died of homelessness and addictions and battling the jail system. I look around at our community and I see the impacts of climate justice and how we need to invest in green infrastructure and climate resiliency and adaptability. And hey, we can also have a green economy that helps to lift everybody up in our economy. And my mom had walked into the Duluth City Council and she said, if you don't give us a seat at the table, we're just going to tear the table down. We're going to cut it up and make it a sweat lodge. And I think about that a lot, that like, um, give us that elbow room. We're taking our space because we actually are the space. Um, or we're going to create it in other places. So why not let's just work together? And we're the ones that are out there doing the work, seeing things that folks don't even see for our communities, coming up with solutions that otherwise wouldn't have been worked on. And so that's the type of thing that I think is the power of having Black and Brown and queer representation and in historic rates.
Everyone, my name is Hnu Vang, and I am a board member of MyPAC. And so for those that don't know MyPAC, I think MyPAC is the first Hmong American Women's Political Action Committee in the nation. And for us, for MyPAC, I think, we're dedicated to raising funds to endorse and elect state level candidates. And MyPAC's commitment is to really building an inclusive democracy. And I think that's why we really do support women, women of color, BIPOC communities. We also want to make sure that it's important, especially for like immigrant women, to also learn about the voting process, the civic engagement process. Some of the priorities that MyPAC really pushes forward is economic security, education, and healthcare.
Well, greetings, everybody. My name is Terri Thao, she, hers. I'm also a member of MyPAC. I'm actually one of the co-founders. But in 2019, I also ran for office. I ran for St. Paul City Council in Ward 6 on the east side. And like Devonna, I did not win my race, but what I've always known is if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And so when we started, whether it was running as an individual candidate or through MyPAC, it is really about saying, when we solve for the most vulnerable, we're able to solve for everybody else. And so we, to this day, that's why I still continue to participate in politics. That's why continue to do this work, training leaders, all the stuff I've done professionally has been about how do we bring more folks to the table, have them sit there and help co-create the menu. For us, we care a lot about, Nuki talked about the issues, but we know, particularly for among women and families, if we figure things out for them, we'll figure it out for a lot of folks in Minnesota and across the nation. And it's been really neat. We just endorsed a round of candidates, and it's a really big deal because what we learned is who oftentimes is the bridge maker of electeds and issues are the women, are the moms, right? I'm bridging to my in-laws, I'm bridging to my children, I'm bridging to my relatives, and that and helping them navigate. And so we know what pivotal roles they have in their families and in the community.
But hello, everyone. My name is HaoPay, she, her, hers. I am the oldest daughter to Hmong refugees, a product of the Hmong diaspora, and that's how I move about the world, and also a generational gender-based violence survivor. I'm also part of MyPAC, which Nuki and Terri had also shared. We are the first Hmong American Political Action Committee in the nation. And a part of the reason why I decided to get involved in politics is because I have firsthand experience in witnessing and experiencing how marginalized people, especially women, are impacted by the systems in which they are in. And so I always say that when women succeed, we all succeed as a larger society. And for Hmong women, we are often the carriers of our traditions, our culture, our people, and yet we have the least power making like decisions. And so it's really important for me to educate Hmong women, especially about their power in voting, their power in how they can influence policy, and what that can do to impact people. And so that's largely the reason why I'm in politics or policy. I always say I hate politics, but in order to really make the change that I want to see, I really have to get into politics. And so here I am. I have a lot to learn, and also, for me, it's really about my community and how I can improve and make our community more inclusive, and especially bring liberation to Hmong women and girls.
Hi, Suzann Willhite here. I'm not running for office, but I do what I can to get people in office that represent the diversity that we need to represent all of us. I love the saying that if it's about us, include us, because there are so many people that need to be at the table where the decisions are being made. So I'm currently president of Equal Rights Amendment Minnesota, ERA Minnesota. It's a volunteer group, as I learned most women's organizations are, which is part of the issue, is that women need to have equal pay to be able to participate at a greater level in our society, in our government and jobs, and managing our homes and families. So the Equal Rights Amendment is really, I mean, I've got the federal one right on my shirt here, 24 words that essentially says that we should all be equal under the law. That's the basic piece, equality under the law. And sadly, we are still talking about that in 2022, and we see the ramifications of the backlash against this idea today in the abortion, Roe v. Wade overturning, not having bodily autonomy as women or people who can be pregnant. It's sort of shocking to me, but at the same time, I know the history now, and I understand why we are where we are. So I have a passion around, the little constitution that said, we the people. I thought it meant everybody. I just learned, as I got older, no, not you, and certainly not you. When you read this document, it's pretty appalling. So the number of people who excluded intentionally. So we have to be added, even for voting rights, whether it was Black men and then women, but we don't have full equality under the law. But we still fight to get an Equal Rights Amendment in our federal constitution. We should have that at this point. It's being blocked legally, even though we have 38 states, the required number. But we also want it in our state constitution for protections in our state. And one of the things I see is the more people we have who support these equality issues, the better off we are. And I saw that in Nevada. Nevada had the first majority women legislature in 2019, and they increased that in 2020. And they started to pass laws around sex trafficking, sexual assault, paid family leave, and issues that mattered to the diversity that were coming in the door.